Hi everyone, my name is Korosh Erfani. I am sociologist and writer. Recently I published a new book called Infinitism, which is a philosophical theory about the infinity and the possibility to use the infinity for changing the world. I would like to refer to what happened yesterday. It was April 22nd, and it was the Earth Day, as you know, which is very good because we remind ourselves, we remember that we have just one planet for now, and we have to be cautious about that because there wouldn't be for now and in the immediate future another planet to use. So in this day we try to understand how we can protect our planet. And yesterday, you know, that was an international meeting with the leaders of the developed country, including President Biden, and the promises had been done and made in order to reduce, for example, the emission of the dioxide carbon and also other pollutants, which is good, which is very good. But I would like to emphasize in this reality that our actions are small and maybe late. Why? Because the momentum by which we are degrading the situation, the environmental situation of the planet, is higher than all the actions that we are taking for protecting it. Which means that if we take all the major environmental issue, including pollution, global warming, you know, overpopulation is a part of that, waste disposal, for example, ocean acidification, loss of biodiversity, deforestation, ozone layer depletion, acid rain, and the public health issue with the COVID-19 crisis. We see that it looks like that we fell behind, you know. There is a lag that is very worrisome regarding what we should have done before, and we didn't. And right now we have effectively a lot of problem, and some of these problems started to be intensified with the new situation in the recent year. If you go to a website, let me show you the link and the address. You can maybe go there and see what's going on, if I find it. Anyway, here, the website is thewordcounts.com, thewordcounts.com. So you can see here a kind of numbers that are going up or down, depending on which cases it is, and you see how we are effectively using the different resources of the nature of and how we are depleting them. For example, look at this number that represents the energy that we are using by terajoules unit, which is million, you know, and we are doing that daily. And imagine that globally this year we are already in this number with I think we should use the units like the billions to understand that. Also, if you see the other indication, you know, for what's going on, you see that, for example, we have only 46% almost of the reefs in the oceans, right, that had been left. So you can imagine how the things are going on. And with some other cases that would be even worse. Here you have the amount of the tons of plastic waste that we are dumping in the ocean. Only this number could give us an idea about what is the real situation. If I go to this month only, you see that more than 792 tons of plastic waste had been dumped in the ocean. So this is the time that we have until the end of the rainforest appear. So I think that's the estimation, and the reality could be even worse. This is the tons of hazardous waste that we are thrown out, only and only for this year. So all of these are interesting number, but there is one I would like to show you that is very significant. Look at this number of planet Earths we need. So with this momentum that you can see here for the details, we need 1.7 number of planet like Earth in order to answer to all these demands, in order to provide all these we need, for keep going. So, is it possible to do so? We can understand that if we reduce this number from what is the reality of the planet Earth, so we are far behind what we actually need for continuing in this way and with this momentum. So that's why I think the solution wouldn't be really to the small or the semi-major here and there in order to counterbalance what we are doing as the damages, to the environment, the way that we are depleting the resources and the way that we are producing the waste and the pollution, and we are emitting it, we are throwing it out to the nature, is giving us this idea that we could face a real crisis in a few years, in some years. So, what's the solution? While we can appreciate what we are doing as the environmental friendly actions, all, for example, actions that the environmentalists are doing, Greenpeace and other organizations, I think we should start to think seriously about that and looking for a major solution. What could be that? I think a major solution is first a radical change in our vision on the environment, on the nature, and in a word, on the matter, which means that we need effectively a new vision that could help us to find extra resources, the supplementary resources for what we need. We cannot stop our needs. We can change it a little in order to improve that, in order to help the environment and the nature, but we cannot really completely stop that. We can go through a catastrophe, but we cannot stop that. Otherwise, we should be more idealist, and we should be in our fantasies than in the reality. So what could be a real change for us? The infinitism, this theory of using the infinity for endless resources, is telling us that we should see how the things are done, how the matter is constituted, is composed. And then think about what is the process inside of the matter that goes to produce it, to shape it, to bring it about. Then we can start finding, looking for, and finding the possibility of changing this process of production of this or that matter, this or that natural product. Which means that we should not accept all the timing, all the necessary time for the materials to go through this process, waiting for this process being achieved, done, and then using this natural product, for example. Why we should not wait for that? Why we can think differently about this process? The reason is very simple. This natural process we are talking about have been the result of mainly the accident in the nature, in the universe. There hadn't been any intelligence to create them, to shape them. There had been just the interaction between the different kinds of matter, and then the the contingency, the accident, the hazardous situation, the random situation, and then the result is this or that. But there is no design, there is no intelligence to put them together to create, I don't know, the tree, the flowers, or anything that we call natural. So because of this lack of intelligence in this process, these processes are being done by a timing that is not maybe the most efficient timing that we can imagine. They are not, this process don't represent the optimal timing of something being done, the process being done. So what we can do? We as the human being, as the intelligent being, what we can do is to study this process and to see how we can not remove the time characteristic of the process, because even though infinitism says that there is no time materially, but there is change, and the change for us, for the human beings, with our perception of the matter, takes time. So we think that there is something called time in the universe or in the matter, while there is not really, but the perception of time is real. I mean, we can go through this process finding the causal chains of production of this or that matter, and then see if we can change this chain, these causal chains. Because these causal chains are made of the components, of the pieces, of the elements, and the interactions. So all of these components, subcomponents, interactions, interrelations, and all of these have been done only and only by accident in the nature. Why should be the prisoner of an accidental setting called nature, called universe, called matter? Why we should be stuck with that, you know? Why we shouldn't be able to change it? Imagine that we believe for a lot of things that there is only a single way to be done. If you want to get a tree growth, you know, so you have just to wait. You need light, water, soil, and then waiting. Why? Because the nature is dictating to us that this is the only way, and we accepted that. And imagine that we accepted it in the most cases because when we were just the primitive human being, you know, we understood the world in this way, with this perception, with this close primitive perception, and we internalized that, and we accepted that, and then we started to get use of that. And right now, about a lot of things, we think that there is only one way, and not even two. And imagine infinitism is telling us that it's wrong. It's completely wrong. If you want how many ways you can get something done, there is no number. There is an unlimited ways, manners, process, you know, paths to achieve something. So, just imagine 1 second going from the idea that a single sole way to do something, you know, or to get something done, to another vision where there is no any limitation for the number of ways that we can use, we can proceed to get something done. Completely different. That's why I talked about the radical change. A vision with a radical change. Infinitism is telling us that philosophically or scientifically we should not be limited or bordered or closed in our traditional, usual vision. We should not stay in our philosophical or scientific comfort zone. We can break it down and see the different possibilities, see the different opportunities to change the situation, to change the structure of the different matters, and to get what we want. So, the idea is that as long as we don't have this philosophical view on the world, on the universe, it's impossible to move forward. We will be stuck with our so-called scientific laws, you know, that there shouldn't be any change. We cannot change these laws. Why? Because these are the scientific laws or the natural laws. There is no such a thing. What we call laws, natural laws, for example, it is just the result of a long process of, you know, the interaction between the different segment or forms of matter interacting with each other, and based on the different accident we got the various shape of matters. why, when this natural process could give birth to the intelligence, the human intelligence, why we should be still stuck and prisoner and freeze with this accidental process of nature? Why we should not think about how to inject the intelligence in this process in order to change it? If it's a question of the law, the law of physics, for example, or any other scientific laws, or any natural or universal laws, why we should not try to modify them, to alter them, and to get what we want? Because they don't have anything as support but accident, but the contingency. Why we should not inject design, purpose, target in this process and get the things done sooner, better, and as we want, not as the nature is imposing us. Pay attention. This philosophical idea is not a framework to oppose to the nature. It's not anti-natural philosophy at all. I said that we should go along with the nature, but we are not done to accept it as is. We can change it. We can improve it. We can get something better. And why not? We can create another logic, another setting for the structure of matter, and based on that we can create a different world. We can create a different universe. In the infinitism there is no any finite shape, form for the human being evolution. For our evolution there is no any predestination. We can change it as we want. We can become a better being, a different, higher level, quantitatively and qualitatively higher being, for create a higher civilization, and to go through a lot of creativity, innovation, invention, discovery, and combine all of them in order to create something else. Look at this. We are, desiring, but desperately, that if we can had other planets, why we are thinking in this way? Because we think that we cannot do otherwise. So we can do only and only as we did to our planet Earth, and all we need is just another one, a supplementary one, please, an extra. So this is not the solution. This is absolutely not the solution. And we can continue with this childish approach to the serious problem of our planet until one day we will be facing the catastrophe for which we cannot do anything. There wouldn't be any getaway. So that's why, by this philosophical theory of infinitism, I suggest, that's just a suggestion. There is no, for now, any scientific proof that we could go through the matter and we could change it as we want and to get what we want. But theoretically, it's possible. That's my idea. That theoretically we can do that. Why? Because the structure of matter is just infinite. There is an infinity in the number of the components that compose the matter, and also the infinity in the interrelation between these components. So any matter is the causal chain of the different level of components, subcomponents, and also the interrelation between them. So based on this idea, and based on the fact that everything that had been done only and only thanks to accident, contingency, we can start to think about how we can now inject the intelligence and the purposefulness in this process and get what we want. So this is a challenge. This is an intellectual challenge, theoretical challenge, and that's why I suggested to create a kind of cooperative field of different discipline, philosophy, science, and technology called infinitology. And by infinitology, I mean knowing better and better the reality of infinity in the matter and how we can use it for getting the infinite possibilities that we can find, we can discover in the matter, in the matter's structure. I will continue these discussions, and I hope that you will also participate in that. You can go on these websites, infinitism.info and infinitology, and you can contact me by these the emails that you can find there. And I hope that by using the collective wisdom, collective consciousness, we can find the solution, and we can get away from this mechanical, primitive caveman approach about the different problem and crisis that we are facing. Thank you very much for watching this video. Bye.